Hello, and welcome to another edition of MBL Timeout Podcast with your host, Serp. It is 9:43 a.m. on this lovely Friday, January 17th, 2020. I'm here in Wisconsin. I think it's negative like 2,000, however you measure space, in space temperature. I think we're going to get about 7 to 40 inches of snow today, so looking good, feeling good. Going to get this Friday going. Season 43, Madden Bomber League. We're in the divisional round. Well, what does that mean? Well, who made it? We had some predictions on the last podcast, and I think they all fell kind of into line as far as the wild card round would have went. The Seahawks ended up beating out the Cardinals for the division, so the Cardinals ended up facing the Packers in the wild card round and got beat up pretty bad. Let's take a look at the stats from that game if we can bring them up. While that's coming up, it looks like we had Chargers versus Texans, Titans versus Ravens, Falcons versus Redskins. We'll get into those a little bit in a moment. We got Cardinals and Packers up, so just kind of the overall stats for the game. Let's see what happened. Well, Kyler Murray threw 3 interceptions and no touchdowns. So, well, there you go. That's probably it for that. He was the biggest rusher on the team. Kyler Murray again, 3 rushes, 27 yards. Christian Kirk, 4 receptions, 76 yards. He always seems to do kind of well, but just not enough. I mean, Murray was, throwing it to the other team, so that didn't help. Then you had Casey with 3 tackles, 2 sacks, and a forced fumble. So, all right, defensive stats for him. On the other side of the ball, we had Matt Stafford, 10 for 13, 156 yards, a touchdown and an interception. So not a lot of yards, but it looks like they were, efficient. They were efficiently just kind of driving down the field. 6 rushes, 39 yards. Devontae Adams, 4 receptions, 84 yards and a touchdown. And Amos with an interception. So low-scoring game, 13-3, but I think we kind of had predicted a little bit of that. I think if the Arizona Cardinals clean it up a little bit, I don't know if maybe their offensive line is a little weaker. Maybe they're getting, Green Bay got a lot of pressure on them, or if it was just wild card round jitters. But I could see the Arizona Cardinals being right back in the same position next year, or next season anyway. So that was the first game that we're going to look at for the wild card round. Who do we got next? Let's do Chargers versus Texans. That was a bit of a blowout. And that would probably would have been my guess with the Texans versus the Chargers, but let's take a look at some of the stats from that game. So let's see, 34-13. So yeah, it was a pretty big blowout with the Texans being a 14-2 team and the Chargers being a 9-7. It's a bit far apart. Garoppolo for the Chargers, 9 for 22, 133, and 2 interceptions. So again, another team just throwing interceptions, you're obviously going to lose. We had Ward with 20 rushes, 66 yards. Miles, 3 receptions, 54 yards. Bosa, 1 sack, 1 forced fumble, 1 tackle. Nothing really extravagant on that side of the ball. It looks like they were just kind of there. Deshaun Watson, 416 yards, 4 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. So a little nutty right there. They must have just let him wide open. And it all went to Hopkins. Listen to this. 11 receptions, 323 yards, and 4 touchdowns for Hopkins. So that guy's not slowing down. And I could definitely see, last time I was going with the Chiefs for the Super Bowl, but I mean, God, the Texans are looking real good with that. I mean, if that's the way they play in the playoffs, and it seems like that's the way they are most of the time anyway, so it's nothing really new for them to be kind of beating out some of the middle tier teams. That's just kind of the norm. So Texans versus Chargers, Texans win. Packers versus Cardinals, Packers won. Now we've got Titans versus Ravens. Ravens beat them out 30-17. So that was another pretty big blowout for that game. So let's see what happened with that. What do we got here? We got Marcus Mariota for the Titans. Again, 148 yards, 2 interceptions, got a touchdown out of them, but the interceptions, if they're more than a touchdown, it's never a good time. I know, firsthand knowledge. We had Harold, 8 rushes, 38 yards, Vaughn, 5 receptions, 46 yards, a touchdown. Nothing really doing over on that side of the ball. So let's go over to the Ravens. Lamar Jackson, 9 for 16, not a very good percentage. 259, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. The Juice, 13 rushes, 92 yards, 2 touchdowns. The Juice again with receptions, 2 receptions, 119 yards. and a touchdown. So it seems like he would have been the MVP of that game. He pretty much took control of it and got the Ravens to win. And we had 2 sacks for Young. So, Titans didn't really show up that game. Now, Falcons versus Redskins was the fourth and final wild card round game. 38-31 Falcons. But, I mean, God, that would have been a nice one to watch, too, if that would have been streamed. Maybe it was and I missed it. Maybe it wasn't. But that looks like a pretty close game. It would have been pretty good to watch. So what do we got? On the Falcons side of the ball, we got Matt Ryan, 18 for 22. Not bad. 356 yards, 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Wow. Good stat line there for that quarterback. Good for him. Smith, 9 rushes, 97 yards and a touchdown. Great. Gray, 7 receptions, 146 yards and a touchdown. Neal, 2 forced fumbles. So the Falcons are looking, I mean, just from that basic stat line right there, I mean, looking real good in the playoffs. 38 points. Now, I don't really know how strong the Redskins defense is and if that's a little bit to do with it, but still, I mean, even if so, great stat line. Other side of the ball for the Redskins, we got Haskins, 14 for 19, 211 yards, 2 touchdowns, interception. Not bad, doable, but nothing spectacular there from him. Freeman, 11 rushes, 85 yards, 2 touchdowns. That's all right. Njoku, 3 receptions, 49 yards, a touchdown, and a sack from Foster. So not bad gameplay there either. Pretty decent stat line, but you could tell the Falcons had it. 38-31, so not bad at all there. So that's the wild card round. So recap that up. We got Cardinals and Packers. Packers took them out. Chargers and Texans. Texans took them out. Titans and Ravens. Ravens took them out. Falcons and Redskins. Falcons took them out. So now with today being in the divisional round, I think we got 2 of the games played already. Let's kind of jump in here and see what we got going on with the divisional round. It looks like we still have the Packers versus the Panthers to play yet. And I think that's going to be on MBL's BTF Building the Franchise series. I think that's going to be streamed, so keep an eye out, an ear out, or whatever you got for that. Ravens versus Patriots. It has still yet to play. So the ones that we did play were the Falcons and the Seahawks, which would have been a pretty interesting one, just because the Seahawks did awfully well in the NFC. With Falcons, though, I mean, just from listening to their stat line from the wildcard game, you could already tell that they're going to be a rough one to play in the playoffs. So let's go into, what do we got here? Falcons and Seahawks stat line for the divisional round game. So the Falcons take it 13-10. So pretty close game there. What do we have? Matt Ryan again, 12 for 14. So really good percentage completion again. 214 yards and a touchdown. You got Smith, 5 rushes, 28 yards, blah, blah, blah. Goodwin, 3 receptions, 59 yards and a touchdown. Really nice. Daniel, forced fumble. What we got on the other side of the ball? Russell Wilson, no touchdowns, no interceptions, but no touchdowns. 13 for 17, 167 yards. Russell Wilson, of course, had the rushing as well. 8 rushes, 35 yards and a touchdown. Hurst had 3 receptions, 57 yards, and they had a forced fumble with Burr Curvin. So Seahawks just kind of flattened out defensively. I mean, it looked like their defense, as far as the Falcons were playing in the wild card round, it would seem that the Seahawks defense did a bit better of a job against the Falcons. But the offense just really wasn't there. So the Seahawks ended up falling 13-10. Falcons take that one. So let's move into now one of the biggest games, and a game I would say I was kind of looking forward to because I had predicted for the Chiefs to be the AFC choice for the Super Bowl. That just didn't happen. And the way Mahomes was playing this year, you thought it was going to be a pretty big, it came down to the Kansas City Chiefs and the Houston Texans. So you got 2 powerhouses there. Which probably would have been another really good game to watch. So let's go on the Kansas City Chiefs side of the ball. So we got Pat Mahomes, 13-19, 288 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. So uncharacteristically of him, if compared to the whole entire season. It must have just been the playoffs, and obviously the Texans are, they're a pretty good team, and as far as play calling and awareness, they've got it all down. So definitely a difficult game for them, but they couldn't do it. So Mahomes, 13-19, 288 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Mahomes had the rushing, 2 rushing, 6 yards, and a touchdown. Walters, 5 receptions, 138 yards, touchdown, not bad stats for him. And Ragland had 4 tackles. Now, on the other side of the ball, are we going to see what we did from the Texans in the divisional round? Yeah. Look, in the wild card round. Look at this, 13 for 15, so great percentage, 322 yards again, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. So, Watson is just on it. And there's not really much you can do. And guess who it would go to? Obviously, Hopkins. 4 receptions, 128 yards, 3 of the touchdowns. Matlock had 16 rushes, 63 yards, and a touchdown. And then Watt had 4 sacks. So obviously pressure played an absolute major role in the defeat of the Chiefs just because Mahomes couldn't connect. I mean, where's Hill? Tyreek Hill wasn't even on the stat line. So they must have really covered the hell out of him. And then put a lot of pressure on Mahomes. So that seems to be the recipe for the Chiefs' defeat, if anybody's looking for that. Just make sure you got the good pieces. So predictions, since we got 2 more divisional game rounds to play, we got the Packers and the Panthers, and the Ravens and the Patriots. Well, the Packers and the Panthers, I'm going to go Panthers right away. And not because the Packers aren't playing well, it's just because of how close it was when they played the Cardinals. So, if it's that close against the Cardinals, what's going to happen with the Panthers and their defense and all of that good stuff? I don't know. I'm going to go Panthers. So I'm going to say Packers, Panthers. I'm going to say the Panthers win in the divisional round. We're saying 75%. Packers might be able to do it. They play good. Madden plays a little bit to it, and somebody could have a bad day, bad play calling, who knows? So it may happen, but I'm going to lean towards the Panthers. Patriots and the Ravens. God, that's going to be a good one. That's going to be a good one. I'd like to say Patriots. A 15-1 team going against an 11-5 team, just based off of that, and plus the way the Patriots play in their defense. I'd like to say Patriots, but Ravens are I think that's going to be a good game. So that's going to be a good game. Patriots and Ravens, good game. Packers and Panthers. I think the Panthers are going to, they're going to win by at least 10, I would say. But that is the wild card and the divisional rounds. So let's jump in now to some of the yearly awards that are given out by the MBL. So let's check out the first one. I think we'd go with the MVP. Let's take a look at the MVP candidates that we had here in the MBL, and then we'll give you the winner. So we had Shaquem Griffin for the Seahawks. We had Deshaun Watson for the Texans. We had Tyree Jackson for the Patriots. We had Tyreek Hill for the Chiefs. And Patrick Mahomes for the Chiefs. We're all in the running for the MVP vote, which is voted on by the owners in the MBL. Season 43 MVP was Patrick Mahomes for the Chiefs. So we had predicted that on the last podcast. Feel pretty good about that one. So 1-1 for predictions as far as, 100%. So that was the MVP. Then we had the most improved owner. For MBL season 43 went to owner Gibbs. So congratulations to Gibbs. The Chargers break into the NBL playoffs at 9-7 after being below 500 for much of the previous 2 seasons. So, went from below 5 or sub 500 to 9-7 and in the wild card run. Made it to the wild card. So good for you. Congratulations, Gibbs. And then we had, owner of the year. Was NFC West's Seahawks with owner Cougs. So, took them to a 13-3 record, which is actually, a lot higher than they've ever been, and they made it to the divisional round of the playoffs. So, yeah, definitely took the Hawks to a good spot. Sucks for me because I'm in that division, so I don't know, congratulations, but also, I can't swear on here, so we won't do that. But congratulations, Cougs, for real. Good job. And then we had another record. We got a record breaker. Tyreek Hill set the record for MBL single season record for receptions. Hill caught 106 passes for 2,109 yards and 20 touchdowns, helping the Chiefs to a 14-2 record. So, wow. Yeah, 106 receptions for 2,109 yards. So let's take a quick rundown of the MBL trade block. See who we got on there going into the offseason, which is kind of right around the corner. We've got the divisional round, conference round, Super Bowl, and then we're off to free agency. So Who do we got that people are trying to offload for maybe some draft picks? We got the Browns, OBJ on the board, looking for a best offer. All right. Jacksonville Jaguars, Norman Finnegan, first round pick and pick some players. I don't have to give my take on some of these guys. Yeah, a little unathletic, but if you need a quarterback. Detroit Lions got 3 guys up there: Darius Slay, Trey Flowers, and Kerryon Johnson. They're looking for picks. We got the Denver Broncos, got Cortland Sutton on there, looking for picks or a cornerback. We got the Buffalo Bills, who don't have anybody on the board, but say they're looking for an outside linebacker, wide receiver, or free safety. All right. Steelers putting up a couple of their guys. Looking for a defensive tackle, defensive end, or a rushing D tackle, or maybe some draft picks. They got Anthony Miller up there, wide receiver, Mike Hilton, cornerback, and they got their number 14 overall draft picks up there, round 1 through 7. If you want them, come get them. And then we got the Niners up there with Sony Michael, 87 overall, looking for some draft picks or a safety. And that is what's on the MBL trade block for right now going into the offseason. So let's take this last couple of minutes here. I'm just going to run through MBL chat here for the last, I don't know, maybe 24 hours or so, and just kind of see what we got going on here. Let you a little insight into how kind of crazy and nutty it might get up in here. So we got some people talking about Finnegan. I don't know if there's any interest there. Looks like we got MBL Live broadcast 324 featuring divisional round action at 5 p.m. Eastern today. Packers and Panthers are going to be on there, so that's great. Check that out. And that is that's on the Twitch, so twitch.tv/MBL Network. Check that out. I think Bomber will be doing the play-by-play on that. Somebody talking about Build-A-Bear, so I don't know what's going on there. Everybody's squadding up lately, so if you see some MBL guys up on playing squads, they're around. Let's see what else we got here. The Aaron Hernandez Netflix documentary. All right. Don't F with Cats. Some people are in that one. I don't know if that's kind of, some like it, some don't. Some people saying it's wild. What else we got on here? Alligator in the sewer. I don't know what that's all about. Oh man, Ric Flair's got some kind of seafood boil or something going on. I like that. I like that pick. I'll take that. I'm hungry. Porter's falling asleep on his teammates, so if you're playing with Porter in squads, you just never know. It looks like he might just kind of pass out on you and just leave you hanging. I don't know if that's the case or not. You can put an answer to that in the comments. Let us know. We got about 35 gifs of hot dogs running around and some people grabbing their head and bananas and dogs with masks on, dancing lizards. Yeah, it gets really weird here around midnight, 1 a.m. It's pretty silly. Some wrestling gifts in there. Good. All right. Looks like we got some people talking about the new Eminem album. So I don't know. It's kind of looks like they're going back and forth on that one, but the consensus is that it might not be that good. Put your comments in if you want to. If you want to talk about that. People in online head-to-head like to quit a lot. Yep, that's for sure. Mutt draft is a big one. I know that specifically. I mean, but, in games like that, what are you going to do? If some person's got, if you got a 9... they don't know how to draft well and you're beating them every play. I mean, what's the point of keeping playing? I mean, instead of just shutting it off, you could go to, start and then concede game to be nice about it. But I guess that doesn't always happen. The stepdad song, I don't know. It sounds familiar. No idea what's going on with that. But Monsters, Arby's. Oh man, now we got some food stuff. What are we talking here? Somebody doesn't like Arby's. So Arby's has better food than McDonald's? Question mark. So it looks like we're kind of fighting about that. Any fast food, Bob says, is better than McDonald's, KFC, or Long John Silver's. Bomber says Long John's is legit, though. JB's got the puke face. Long John's is McDonald's mashed to look bigger. Good one. And then everybody starts to wake up, and then we start talking about the weather here, which is trash, and it sucks. So if you're in Wisconsin, good luck. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. So I guess that's my time. Make sure you check out MBL Live or the Commissioner's Podcast, Commissioner Corner Podcast today. And this has been my time with MBL Timeout, your host, Serp, and we'll talk at you later.